All right, so former Vice President Joe Biden kicked off his 2020 presidential campaign Saturday with a rally in the heart of Philadelphia. Biden spoke to the crowd of thousands about party unity, as well as continued his push to look beyond the crowded Democratic primary field and toward the general election fight against President Trump.
I know some of the really smart folks say Democrats don't want to hear about unity. They say Democrats are so angry that the angrier a candidate can be, the better chance he or she has to win the Democratic nomination. Well, that's wrong, Joe. I don't believe it. I really don't. Yeah. If Democrats, I believe Democrats want to unify this nation. That's what our party's always been about. Folks, let me tell you something. The single most important thing we have to accomplish to get this done, the single most important thing we have to accomplish is defeat Donald Trump.
You know, Katty Kay, so let's look at the two candidates that we've heard this morning who have drawn a lot of attention, perhaps probably the most attention over the past several months. Biden and Mayor Pete, both positive messages. Both messages of unity, not the angry, you know, we hear that the Democratic Party is an angry, left-wing, snarling party that's lost their minds and trying to somehow get even with Donald Trump. Boy, all we've heard is a positive message, and I'm not so sure that's, I mean, we're an exhausted nation. I even talked to Trump supporters who say, he just exhausts me. I've just had enough. I can't handle the tweets. I wonder if this is not the message that all Americans are ready to hear, whether it's in the Republican Party or the Democratic Party.
Yeah, where Trump does badly against a Democratic candidate is on issues of character, right? And I think Biden and Pete Buttigieg in his town hall last night went specifically after Trump's character with that idea of grotesqueness. Buttigieg seemed to be saying, look, I'm tough enough to take on Trump. You're going to put me up on a debate stage with him. I'm tough enough to take him on and to dismiss him in a way kind of that Joe Biden does. I've thought for a long time that of all of the Democratic candidates, the one who seems easiest attacking Trump, who seems to almost find it kind of fun, lets it wash over him, is Joe Biden. He has this ability to take Trump on and kind of not let it ruffle him in the way that the Republican candidates did back in 2016. Could they work together potentially on a ticket? Joe Biden has the African-American vote. He particularly has women African-American votes. Pete Buttigieg polling less than 1% with African-Americans. He's got to do something there, but he could bring in young voters. He could get some of the energy around that. He could help out in the Midwest. It was interesting. Buttigieg stole the headlines yesterday. He got much more attention than Joe Biden did. But he's still 37, and he still has to do something about it. And his weakest answer in that town hall yesterday was on what he was going to do to up those numbers amongst African Americans. He didn't really have an answer to it.
Yep, and he needs to find an answer. And, you know, Mike Barnicle, I talked about the three types of stories that I tell. I need to add a fourth. I seem to tell a lot of stories about Johnny Carson and the genius of Johnny Carson, who always told executives in New York, you don't win on the coasts, you win in the central time zone. But another thing he said, though, was that like his temperament was important. People let him into their bedrooms every night, and he was cognizant of that fact. And I think about that when I hear even Trump supporters saying, God, I'm just so exhausted by this man. And I wonder whether it's that sheer exhaustion that at the end of the day will make voters turn on Election Day to somebody else who's positive, like Joe Biden or Mayor Pete.
Joe, you know, you really put your finger on, I think, a key element in the electorate from this point on, the exhaustion factor. It's huge out there because, in a sense, if you talk to people, if you lead a fairly normal life, you get the sense that what Trump has done, above all else, he's narcoticized a large part of the country, a large part of the population. People are weary of the insults, the behavior. I mean, even in foreign relations, David Ignatius could speak to this far better than I do, when he's saying, you know, hey, if Iran does anything, that'll be the end of Iran. That's not the language people expect from a president of the United States. So now I think, and Sam Stein pointed this out, every election is a reaction to the past election. And I think a lot of people are going to be looking for things that will just say, hey, let's settle down. Let's calm this country down and deal with some of the real issues that we have on our plate. Let's deal with health care instead of arguing and fighting all the time. Let's deal with the economy, with pay inequity, rather than fighting and screaming all the time. And people like Joe Biden, people like Mayor Pete, in their language and their presentation, give a lot of people, I think, the sense that, okay, these guys are where I am on this.
All right, we're going to have more 2020 news just ahead. Senator Kamala Harris is rolling out a new policy proposal this morning that we're going to dig into. Plus, Justin Amash just went where no other Republican was willing to go. The conservative congressman called President Trump on the carpet, leading the party's top leader in the House to pick sides. We'll tell you where he landed straight ahead. But first,
thanks for checking out MSNBC on YouTube, and make sure you subscribe to stay up to date on the day's biggest stories. And you can click on any of the videos around us to watch more from Morning Joe and MSNBC. Thanks so much for watching.